So I'm going to ask again our historians to kind of open the story for us. How long did it take, first of all, to plan this? Who came up with the idea of sending troops, especially this number, to the beaches of Normandy? And why Normandy? Why not one of the other places along the coast? Who wants to tackle that one?
Well, the finalization for who was going to command Operation Overlord, which is what D-Day, June 6, 1944, is known as, comes from Tehran Conference, which had Stalin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Churchill trying to solidify everything. But it actually goes all the way back to Operation Barbarossa, when the Germans invaded Russia, Soviet Union. And Stalin said, we need a second front somewhere in the west of France. And he would not advance any further until he got that second front. And so there were planning stages taking place from Operation Barbarossa in 1941 all the way up until they actually landed on June 6, 1944. It was 6:30 in the morning when the first landings took place. The men had been on the ships for 2 or 3 days. They had been on choppy seas. And it took an innumerable amount of people to get the logistics together to put this on. And really, Western France is the only place it could have taken. People talk about why not Italy. We had a toehold. There was a place we could step off from. And there's plenty of reasons, but the paramount one there is the terrain, the geography. It's all mountains. You try assaulting uphill through mountains, and then there's the Alps. There's only one pass through the Alps, and the Germans and the 1 million men that happened to be there on the German side would have put up quite a resistance. And then logistics. The amount of supplies that was needed for D-Day to actually succeed was huge. I think I saw a number of about 150,000 tons of material that was put ashore on that first day. There's no way you could take that amount of supplies from England through the Straits of Gibraltar, through the Mediterranean, not be sunk by German wolf packs, and then make all those supplies land on the coast of Italy in order to supply an entire army marching north.
Right. So the terrain was important. The geography was important.
Absolutely. It really dictated the entire
But set the stage for us again, too. I mean, France was occupied. There were German troops everywhere, right? So
France was actually, after France fell in 1940, it was actually split in two. The northern coast, the northern section of the country was occupied by the Germans in preparation for an invasion of Britain, Operation Sea Lion. That never took place because the Germans failed in the Battle of Britain, the air battle over England. Southern France was reorganized as a fascist dictatorship known as Vichy France. A lot of people tend not to realize this, but for the French, it was a civil war.
Yes.
Where do you go? Vichy France was recognized by the United States as a legitimate government. So if you're French, where do you go back home and fight? You go with the British and continue to fight against Hitler, or do you stay in France, in Vichy and southern France, and try to fit yourself into this new European order? The northern part was occupied by the Germans. They knew it was coming. They knew an invasion was coming. There was no question that the liberation of France was the goal. Ever since the British had evacuated at Dunkirk, that had been the plan. The British had actually tried to retake some northern ports earlier in the war, suffered horrendous casualties. I believe they were mostly Canadian troops at the time. But by 1944, North Africa has been liberated. We're working our way up the Italian peninsula. German cities are being pummeled by Allied air power. The Russians are on the move, and they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
By 1944, it was time.
Yeah.